Aluwiha, who spoke to reporters at the summit.
So in other words, man, all these other nations are frowning upon America doing this thing, man. Nobody's with this, man. These other nations, India, China, Russia, they're all against this thing, man. They are reprimanding the United States for doing this, man. But they're gonna do it any damn way. Why? Because the elites want that.
Isaiah 47:3, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen.
All this wickedness by them trying to go in there, because all these other nations, they know that what the United States is doing is unjust. So now all these other, even though they wicked as hell, they damn self, but they say America's real wicked. The lies and the shit they trying to pull off on everybody, man.
South African President Jacob Zuma slammed the idea of a military intervention in Syria on the eve of the summit, saying that one cannot remain silent when one country is being bombed to ashes before our eyes.
That's right. That's their nakedness being lifted up, man. In America, all the wickedness of America, all the other nations in the World Summit is seeing this, and they're saying America, though, that's just a wicked-ass goddamn country, man. And even in that movie, The Butler, the guy Whitaker played, he said, yeah, America, that's the country that likes to point out their finger at everybody else and says they're the ones that's doing wrong, but really all that wickedness is going on right in their backyard. That's America, man.
Zuma stressed that the UN is the only authority that can intervene military in any country in a speech earlier this week. We don't want the world to be run by individuals, but a collective in the form of the UN. I don't know if people excuse me. I don't know if people who are questioning our position on Syria have an alternative, Zuma said. President Putin on Friday quoted his South African counterpart as saying that the world's smaller countries feel increasingly vulnerable and insecure. Right, because these other countries are seeing if America can do this to Syria, they can do it to their country. You know what's to stop America from doing it to their country? So increasingly, America is becoming the big bully on the block, which everybody wants to kick his ass. You know, and eventually, the big bully on the block, he gets his ass kicked anyway.
He gets humbled. He gets humbled. Eventually, the bully always gets humbled, man.
Well, America is going to get humbled right out of existence.
Yeah, you Edomites, you so-called white people, when y'all in slavery, that's going to be the ultimate humbling, man. When we got y'all in slavery. Because all you Edomites over here, you American Edomites, y'all all going to die in the missiles. Ain't none of y'all going to make it out of here. Just the elites. But the elites don't even live here. The so-called elites, I'm sorry, they don't live here. They don't live in America. And if there are some here, they're going to get that. They're going to escape. Scriptures tell you they're going to escape, but they're going to get in slavery. The ones of you American Edomites, y'all going to die in the missiles. Y'all going to go back to the spirit world, and when you are reincarnated through the one Edomites that make it, that's how y'all going to get in slavery. But we're going to get you nonetheless.
This is Isaiah 47:10.
Eventually, America, you Americans are going to be in slavery for that 1,000 years. So that you're going to be humbled, man. That's why the Lord said we got to have y'all in slavery, because that's a humbling process, man, for Esau, man. Because it's going to be a long 1,000 years, and we're going to be kicking your ass, man, and really giving it to you, man.
I got some real quick. Like a case in point, this thing with Zimmerman, right? Now, ever since he got acquitted, which Jake knows that he should have been found guilty, that's called poetic justice, because his wife is divorcing him now. He got a couple of tickets within the last 3 or 4 months, or 2 months. All right, he got a speeding ticket, then he got another ticket from somebody else, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, his wife decides to divorce him. So his world is crumbling down, man. And that goes hand in hand with America. America's world is crumbling down. Give me real quick Jeremiah 50, verse 9 and 10.
Yep, that's the spirit, man.
Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9. It says, "For I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. The arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. In Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. That's right, Chaldea. Right, that represents America today. Verse 11. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass and bellow as bulls, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed.
That represents Great Britain, because America was birthed out of Great Britain or England.
Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert.
Oh, and the part where it says she have grown fat, America, the so-called white man, y'all stole everything. Y'all stole the resources of all the other countries. You stole this land away from the tribes of Gad and Reuben. Okay? Y'all stole every damn thing. Y'all stole all the gold and got all the gold. It's not even in the Federal Reserve. There ain't no gold in Fort Knox, man. The so-called elites got all that gold, man, that they've been acquiring for all these hundreds of years.
Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Speaking about America, meaning this bitch of a country, America's going to be destroyed, man. And all these other nations, which they're turning on America right now. Some of these nations were once in good standings with the United States. All right, but now they pretty much, they all despise America, man.
And that's a scripture that proves that this country is not going to be inhabited, man. Meaning after the missiles drop, this place is going to be one big fucking desert, man. And you know what? I'm glad, man, that the Most High is going to do that, man, because, man, I ain't going to want to be here. After all this hell that we done caught here, man. This, first of all, it's polluted with the blood of the saints. The Israelites that were killed here. The Negroes and Native Americans and the other tribes that Esau, the so-called white man, have been murdering here. It tells you that.
Yeah, because your attitude is not, get me 2 Peter 3, verse 10 on down. Our attitude is not to love white people, all right? You know where I'm getting at. You know, famous Israelite by the name of Degenerate Yohana said, we don't hate white people, but God hate white people. He don't want America to be destroyed, man. He don't want the kingdom to come. That dude might be Dayton, man. Yeah, that dude, we're going to start calling you Dayton, man. You Dayton, man. And Nate might be Abiram, and the Bubble Eye might be Corey, all right? That might be y'all, man. You know. Anyway, we finished with that. I want you to get me right quick Job 15 verses 20 to 21, or 20 and 21, and this is more heat, you know, for you devils.
That's right, man. You got it.
Job 15 and 20. The wicked man travaileth with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor. A dreadful...
Right, the number of years is hidden to the oppressor, meaning you don't know when your time is up. And the handwriting is already on the wall, but you dummies can't see it, man. Go ahead.
A dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer shall come up upon him.
Right, in his prosperity, the destroyer shall come up upon you. Who is the destroyer? The Most High. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, and that's his name. So all you bird brains that say, well, we don't even know if that's the Most High's real name, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai going to destroy all of you, man. And that goes for you, Methuselah, and Mashaba, and Kawakab, okay? And the rest of you guys, man. And Nate, because Nate, you're full of pride, man. All right? Johanna, Bubble Eyes.
He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for of the sword.
Waited for of the sword. The sword is talking about the missiles, the ICBMs. Go ahead, y'all got it.
He said, he wandereth abroad for bread, saying, where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. Trouble and anguish shall make him afraid. they shall prevail against him as a king ready to the battle. For he stretcheth out his hand against the Most High, and strengtheneth.
Yeah, Esau, the so-called white man. That's why the so-called white man got them space stations they trying to set up. They trying to set up these. Well, back in the 80s, Reagan had set up that Star Wars program. They trying to come. They trying to increase. They have increased their technology to so-called try to fight against the angels when they come back in those chariots, those UFOs. Esau thinks he gonna fight against the Most High himself and win, which he gonna be crushed, man, badly.
And strengtheneth himself against the Almighty.
That's why they've been coming up with all this technology, because they know, the so-called elites know that those UFOs, or that they know that those UFOs that they make movies and documentaries about are the vessels that the angelic forces fly around in, man. Okay, they know that. That's why the white man has been so big on increasing their technology and their weaponry. They already have laser guns and all that type of shit, because they think they're going to fight against those so-called UFOs when they come back.
Yeah. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 68, verse 16.
And I'm going to tell y'all something. All those expeditions that Esau took up into outer space, Neil Armstrong and all them astronauts, they had documents where them guys actually gave reports that they saw the UFOs, and they saw black men, big black men, come out of those with afros, come out of those vessels or those ships. Okay, so they know who it is and what it is. That's why they've been fighting so hard to bring in that Star Wars program. Back in the 80s, Reagan was really signing off on that big time. Okay, to try to fight against the Lord Yahweh Shai when he come back.
That's right. Psalm 68 and 16.
That's why Obadiah says, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Talking about Esau, man. Esau is deceived. This devil thinks he gonna actually defeat the angelic forces, man, of Yahweh Shai.
Why leap ye high hills? This is the hill which the Most High desireth to dwell in. Yea, the Lord will dwell in it forever.
Yeah, like that G20 summit. The word summit means what? A peak of a mountain. So that's all that G20 summit, all them nations coming together and deciding they're going to do this and they're going to do that. That's an example of them leaping. That's an example of them high heels or high hills. Go ahead.
That's right. It says, yea, the Lord.
Okay, no problem, bro.
Yea, the Lord will dwell in it forever. The chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels.
Man, that's an innumerable amount of chariots. What's that? Them UFOs, them spacecrafts, man. And when they come, they're going to come like locusts, man, upon this place. And when the missiles are dropping, them chariots of the angels, they're going to be shooting laser beams and zapping people. It tells you that in the Apocrypha, man. When it talked about Yahweh Shai, the mountain that he came in, and then it said that when his breath went out, that was talking about the chariot or the ship that Yahweh Shai is going to shoot a giant laser beam out, like that movie Independence Day showed you.
Yeah, well, that's why it tells you in the book of Revelation 1 and 7 that every eye shall see Yahweh Shai. What are they going to see? They're going to see them chariots, because those chariots are going to cover the whole world, all right, on the day that Yahweh Shai comes back. And like he said, them chariots are going to be shooting laser beams at different, targets, military installations. Yeah, like the movie The War of the Worlds, the first one, the original one from the 1950s. Something like that scenario. That's what's going to happen, man.
Independence Day.
Yeah, and for them elites to make that video, or so-called elites, like Elder Ricard says, that shows you they know the truth. All right? They made that They made that movie way back in 1951. And by the way, in that movie, if you get it on VHS, when you pause it, there's a scene where the hero of the movie runs into a church for sanctuary from them chariots attacking the town, and he runs in there, and there's a stained glass window of what looks like Jesus Christ. And do you know what color it is? Black. All right. It's an icon, one of those mosaic icons, and if you pause it, you can clearly see a man with woolly hair, like an afro, and dark skin, and that's supposed to be Jesus Christ, which we know his name is Yahweh Shai. So way back in 1951, they knew, man. The elites know. They know what's going on.
Yeah, like what's his name? Cecil B. DeMille. He made that movie, The Ten Commandments. You gonna tell me he don't know that those people that he portrayed in the movie were all people of color, man? Okay, they were people of color, brown-skinned people, so-called blacks, Native Americans, and so-called what you call blacks, Native American, and Hispanic. Those were the 12 tribes, man, and he knew that.
Yeah, to back up what you were just saying about Cecil B. DeMille, he had a number of books. He had the Bible. He had when the opening of the movie, the intro of the movie, they said that these are the books that we use to get the records. They mentioned the Josephus. They mentioned the Philo. That was another book. They mentioned a couple other books, and then they mentioned the main book, which is the Holy Scriptures. Now, in the movie, he had Charlton Heston, so-called Jew, play Moses, the lead character, but he had Joshua, which was the second in command. He was a leader after Moses had passed. He was from the tribe of Ephraim, and they got an actor that looked just like an Ephraimite. So they put a little truth in there. But Esau is not the one to bring out the whole truth. Okay?
That's right. He's the devil. They're going to lie to you. That's why they got Heston. And then even the damn Egyptians were white people with copper tone on, man. Okay?
All right, going back to the article, it says President Putin on Friday quoted his South African counterpart as saying that the world's smaller countries feel increasingly vulnerable and insecure, with the notion that a more powerful nation can at any time and at its own discretion use force against them. In this regard, a military strike outside of the UN Security Council resolution would set a dangerous precedent, Putin warned. The use of force on a sovereign state is only possible if it is done for self-defense. And as we know, Syria is not attacking the U.S. or under a decision made by the UN Security Council. As one participant in our discussion said, those who act otherwise put themselves outside of the law, Putin said.
Right. Now, that's beautiful that Putin said that, because the so-called president of the United States, which is a big joke, is Barack Obama. Now, it's a known fact that he's a constitutional lawyer. That means he specializes in the Constitution. He deals with constitutional issues. So a first-year law student knows that that's clearly unconstitutional. Because, number one, Congress declares war because they represent the masses of the people. And number two, when you read about the Navy, all right, and you read about standing armies for no more than 2 years, okay, because you got a standing army in this country, the U.S. Army is not supposed to be an ongoing army. It's supposed to be assembled from the militia, which are men from the ages of 18 to 25. That's why they draft you at the age of 18. They have you register at 17 so they can draft you at the age of 18 if there's a draft, because that represents the militia. Any male of American citizenship or about to be American citizen or wants to be American citizen and they're a resident in this country from the ages of 18 to 25, that's why they draft you from those years, because that goes back to militia. And that militia is formed into an army, a standing army for no more than 2 years, because they said a war wouldn't last no more than 2 years. All right? Now, the military and the Navy, that's the only thing that's standing, is the Navy. All right? The only time they're able to attack another nation is to repel the attack from that other nation. In other words, it's defense. You're not supposed to be the aggressor. You can't say, well, did you see all those kids that were killed by that sarin gas? We got to do something about that. But is that constitutional? No, it's not constitutional. And Barack Obama knows that. But like I said earlier, the reason why they're doing that is because the Most High is putting it in their spirit to go.